Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and it seems that we're finally at the crossroads here, where the Twitter files, where this was dropped by Elon Musk himself, or rather, somebody big called by from Matt Tabbi, or Tabbi, something like that. And it seems like the Democrats have really gone over the board and have really gone after our First Amendment, which would be, well, pretty much trying to ban everybody that has been seeing onto that has been on Twitter and going all against this stuff and what have you. So that being said, I think the Democrats have been doing a very bad job. I don't think that any Republicans were really onto this at all. I don't think Republicans had anything to do with this. It could possibly be. I didn't read all of them, but I will let you guys know that it has been pretty crazy. I was thinking about doing this over the weekend, but I said there was going to be a lot of stuff being put down, so I could have done the live coverage. Which, now think about it, I probably should have, but we're here now. So, here's the full thread. Now, this is a bit zoomed in for you guys because I kind of want everybody to see it. I won't be going, clicking on the individual tweets, but it's alright. Matt Tabbi, it says, thread the Twitter files. What you're about to read is the first installment in a series based upon thousands of internal documents obtained by sources at Twitter. The Twitter files tell an incredible story from inside of one of the world's largest and most influential social media platforms. It is a Frankensteinian tale of a human-built mechanism grown out of control of its designer. Twitter, in its conception, was a brilliant tool for enabling instant mass communication, making a true real-time global conversation possible for the first time. In an early conception, Twitter more than lived up to its mission statement, giving people the power to create and share ideas and information instantly without barriers. As time progressed, however, the company was slowly forced to add those barriers. Some of the first tools for controlling speech were designed to combat the likes of spam and financial fraudsters. Slowly, over time, Twitter staff and executives began to find more and more uses for these tools. Outsiders began petitioning the company to manipulate speech as well, first a little, then more often, then constantly. By 2020, requests from connected actors to delete tweets were routine. One executive would write to another, more to review from the Biden team. The reply would come back handled. Now it goes on to say on some of these, it says more to review from the Biden team. Thanks to all, and it'll be all celebrities and people will be named here. Celebrities and unknowns could be removed or reviewed at the behest of a political party. Now I will zoom in some of these, and I'll try my best to obviously blow them up. But we'll see how this really goes. So, that being said, considering this is such a thing here, I'll be moving my camera here and out over and over again every little bit because of how this is, because I kind of want everybody to see this. It says, on October 25th, 2020, 9:58 a.m., I grabbed on the first one under SI, deferred to safety on the high-profile second one, and an initial report from DNC. So, yeah. There's going to be some interesting news I may do in a second video here that may pertain to who might be suing the DNC. Both parties had access to these tools. For instance, in 2020, requests from both the Trump White House and the Biden campaign were received and honored. However, the system wasn't balanced. It was based on context because Twitter was and is overwhelmingly staffed by people of one political orientation. There were more channels, more ways to complain, open to the left, well, Democrats than the right. Well then, that kind of shows you how this is going. This also goes to show, guys, that contributions by the party recipient, Cycle, and all of this great information here. Cycle, 2022, for most of these, we have 2018, 2020, and 2022. Democrats, total of 185,000. Dems, 93.73%. Republicans, 450. 0.27, 1.5. So, the majority is by far for the Democrats. By a great margin. Great margin. So, do that as you will. Goes on to say here, the resulting slant in content moderation decisions is visible in the documents you're about to read. However, it's also the assessment of multiple current and former high-level executives. Okay, there was more throat clearing about the process, but screw it, let's jump forward. The Twitter files part 1 of how I included blocked the Hunter Biden laptop story. Okay, we're gonna jump into here because I think, by the way, it just jumped from 12 to immediately 16. I'm trying to find the other here. Okay, well, I don't think they actually jumped to it. So we're gonna go from here and see where we can find all the other stuff, alright? The Twitter files, part 1, how and why Twitter blocked the Hunter Biden laptop story. 17. On October 14th, 2020, the New York Post published Biden's secret emails and exposed based on the contents of Hunter Biden's abandoned laptop. Twitter took extraordinary steps to suppress the story, removing links and post warnings that may be unsafe. They even blocked its transmission via direct message, a tool Herald received for extreme cases, e.g. child pornography. White House spokeswoman Kayleigh McEnroe was locked out of her account for tweeting about the story, prompting a fierce letter from Trump campaign staffer Mike Hahn, who seemed at least pretend to care for the next 20 days. We're going to read all of this. Alright, I will blow this up, so don't worry, guys. I will not move my picture because it'd be pointless for me to really remove it. Okay, so, it says here, Kayleigh McEnroe has been locked out from her account for simply talking about the New York Post story. All she did was cite the story in first-hand reporting that has been reported by other outlets and not disputed by the Biden campaign. I need an answer immediately on when how she will be unlocked. I also don't appreciate how anybody on this team called me regarding the news that you'll be censoring news articles. Like I said, at least pretend to care for the next 20 days. Alright, so we have that. On 20, this led public policy executive Caroline Strum to send out a polite WTF query. Several employees noted that there was a tension between the comms policy teams, who had little less control over moderation, and the safety and trust teams. Hi team, are you able to take a closer look here? Thank you. Strom's note returned the answer that the laptop had been removed for violation of the company's hacked materials policy. Hi, Caroline. Thanks for reaching out to us. Per checking, the user was bounced by site integrity for violating our hacked materials policy. Added them here for further insights and guidance. Thanks. Although several sources recorded hearing about general warning from federal law enforcement that summer about possible foreign attacks, there's no evidence that I've seen of any government involvement in the laptop story. In fact, that might have been the problem. The decision was made at the highest levels of the company, but without the knowledge of CEO Jack Dorsey, with former head of legal policy and trust Vijay Gotti playing a key role. They've just freelanced it. This is how one former employee characterized the decision. Hacking was the excuse, but within a few hours, pretty much everyone realized that it wasn't going to hold. But no one had the guts to reverse it. You can see the confusion in the following lengthy exchange, which ends up including Gotti and former Trust and Safety Chief Yoel Roth. Comms official Trenton Kennedy writes, I'm struggling to understand the policy basis for marking this as unsafe. Goes on to say here, the 2020 to 2010 14 New York Post Hunter Biden laptop article, Privileged and Confidential, our teams continue to investigate the origins of the material included in the reporting. Trenton Kennedy, I'm struggling to understand the policy basis marking this as unsafe, and I think the best explainability argument for this certainly would be what we're waiting to understand if this story is a result of hacked materials. We'll face hard questions on this if we don't have some kind of solid reasoning for marking the link unsafe. Kate Roseborough will also mark similar stories as unsafe, also with the Fox News reports as well. By this point, everyone knew this was fucked, and said one former employee, but the response was essentially to err on the side of continuing to err. Yoel Roth, the policy basis of hacked materials, though as discussed, this is an emerging situation where the facts remain unclear. Given the severe risk here in the lessons of 2016, we're erring on the side of including a warning and preventing this content from being amplified. Via Gotti, what is the warning that will come up? Yoel Roth. New, when you click the link, you'll see the general unsafe URL message references spam, malware, and violations of the Twitter rules. Not ideal, but it's the only thing we have. I am Plunkett. New. Whatever do we do in the comms, this will become a biased claim for the Jack pre-hearing immediately. Let's make it clear we are proactively but cautiously interpreting this through the lens of our hacked materials policy and allowing the link with a warning and significant reduction of spread. Former VP Global Comms Brandon Borman asked, can we truthfully claim that this is part of the policy? He goes on to say here, Brandon Mormon knew, to Ian's point, can we truthfully claim that this is part of the policy, i.e. as part of our approach to addressing potentially hacked materials, we are limiting visibility of related stories on Twitter while investigation is ongoing. To which former Deputy General Counsel Jim Baker seems to advise staying on the non-course because caution is warranted. Privileged and confidential. I support the conclusion that we need more facts to assess whether the materials were hacked. At this stage, however, it is reasonable for us to assume that they may have been, and that caution is warranted. There are some facts that indicate that the materials may have been hacked, while there are others indicating that the computer was either abandoned and/or the owner consented to allow the repair shop to access it for at least some purposes. We simply need more information. A fundamental problem with tech companies and content moderation, many people in charge of speech now care little about speech and have been told the basics by outsiders, to wit. In one new humorous exchange on one day, Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna reached out to Gade to gently suggest that she hop on the phone to talk about the backlash re-speech. Khanna was the only Democratic official I could find in the files who expressed concern. Generating huge backlash on Hale re-speech. Happy chat if you're up for it. Best Row, sent from iPhone. This is all crazy stuff, guys. This is all crazy stuff. This video may be long because this is a huge amount of information that was released that one night. Only reason why I probably think I honestly should have just done a live stream review because there was a lot going on. Goddard replies quickly, immediately diving into the weeds of Twitter policy, unaware Khanna is now more worried about the Bill of Rights. Hi, Congressman Khanna. Thank you for reaching out, and we appreciate the heads up. We put out a clarifying thread of tweets earlier this evening to explain our policy around the posting of private information and link directly to hacked materials. The press secretary's account was not permanently suspended. We requested that she delete the tweet containing material that is in violation of our rules, and her account is restricted until she complies. I'd be happy to jump on the phone if helpful. My team in DC, Jessica and Lauren, are copied here and also available to discuss. Thanks. Fire. Khanna tries to reroute the conversation to the First Amendment, which is generally hard to find the files. All right, so this one will be blown up. All right, here. So, Ro Khanna to Viagade. I hope you're all well. Via. This seems a violation of the First Amendment principles. If there is a hack of classified information or other information that could expose a serious war crime and the NYT was to publish it, I think the NYT have that right. A journalist should not be held accountable for the illegal actions of the source unless they actively aided the hack. So, restrict the distribution of that material, especially regarding a presidential candidate, seems not in the keeping of the personal principles of NYT v. Sullivan, as this is a total Biden partisan and convinced he didn't do anything wrong. But the story now has become more about censorship than relatively innocuous emails, and it's become a bigger deal than it would have been. It also is now leading to serious efforts to curtail Section 230, many of which would have been a mistake. I believe Twitter itself should curtail what recommends or puts in the trending news, and your policy against QAnon groups is all good. It's a hard balance. But in the heat of a personal campaign, restricting dissemination of newspaper articles, even in your part, is far right, seems like it would invite more backlash than it would do good. Please keep this communication between just us and Jack, and no need to CC the team or forward to them. Just wanted to offer my 2 cents. Oh my, well that doesn't sound very First Amendment-like, now does it? Within a day, head of public safety, public policy Lauren Kerbelson receives a ghastly letter report from Carl Sisbal of the research firm NetChoice, which had already polled 12 members of Congress, 9 R's and 3 Democrats, from their House Judiciary Committee to represent Judy Chu's office. It goes on to say here that from Lauren, yesterday, yesterday NetChoice Chris Marches is net formally with 9 Republican and 3 Democratic House staffers to gather intel about FBI and Twitter and your story. Staffers hail from the House Judiciary Committee. So, some of these are kind of repeats, so I'll try to avoid these a little bit here. It goes on to say that choice lets Twitter know a bloodbath awaits in the upcoming Hill hearings, with members saying its tipping point and complaining tech has blown so big they can't even regulate themselves, so the government may have to intervene. So we have this here. So have this right here. So now, Sussbo reports to Twitter that some Hale figures are characterizing their laptop story as Tech Access Hollywood moment. Goes on to say here, when asked just how bad the situation is, one staffer said it's Tech Access Hollywood moment and it has no area to hide behind others more blunt. Tech is screwed, and rightfully so. The First Amendment is absolute. This is the biggest one here that we have. Sabal's letter contains chilling passages relaying Democratic lawmakers' attitudes. They want more moderation as far as for the Bill of Rights. It's not absolute. The Democrats, meanwhile, complained that the companies are inept. The elected serves muddy the water and make the Biden campaign look corrupt, even though Biden is innocent. They linked this to the Hillary Clinton email scandal. She did nothing wrong, but because the press wouldn't let the story go, it became a scandal far out of proportion. In their mind, social media is doing the same thing. It doesn't moderate enough harmful content, so when it does, like it did yesterday, it becomes a story if the companies moderated more. Conservatives wouldn't even think to use social media for disinformation, misinformation, or otherwise. The Democrats were in agreement. Social media needs to moderate more because they're corrupting democracy and making all truth relative. When pushed on how the government insists on that, consistent with the First Amendment, they demurred the First Amendment isn't absolute. That is a huge problem, ladies and gentlemen. Amazing subplot of the Twitter Hunter Biden laptop affair was how much was done without the knowledge of the Jack CEO Dorsey and how long it took for the situation to get unfucked, as a one ex-employee put it, even after Dorsey jumped in. So, that is all the crazy information that we have here. Now, we have some, I think we have a little bit more stuff here as well that's been going on that I think, that might be going on here. So, all that stuff. So, without further ado, I will end this here for right now, because of how much stuff is. I will do the second part with the actual DNC's lawsuit going on in the next video, so hopefully you guys kind of understand what's been going on. But that is a lot of crazy stuff going on, guys. A lot of crazy stuff. And there's even something about, hey, Katie Hobbs over here that had something to do with controlling speech. Seems something that's not going quite right over there as well. Alright, guys. Crazy stuff. Lock all these motherfuckers up because that's what needs to happen. Alright, guys, that's it for the video. Like, subscribe, share, and always keep fighting. Take care.